it's Reagan and welcome to the start of another reading vlog. This reading vlog I'm very excited about because I'm going to be continuing a very hyped, very popular series to hopefully get a sense of like how I feel about it overall. I enjoyed the first one, I didn't love it, but I'm hoping to become obsessed with it starting with book 2. Many people say books 2 and 3 are the best so far within this series. I'm rambling. All that to say is I want to fall in love with a new series, especially after finishing The Realm of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb. So let's cross our fingers and hope that this could possibly be it. The book I'm talking about is Howling Dark by Christopher Ruccio. This is the second book to the Sun Eater series, the first one being Empire of Silence. I read Empire of Silence a couple months ago now, and I wanted to continue on to book 2 before I forgot too much. These books are dense. This is about 600 pages, and I think it's just like, there's a lot of text in these books, so I have a feeling this is going to take me a little while. I'm both hopeful that I'm going to love this book, but also nervous. For some reason it's not going to land for me. If for some reason I'm not loving it, I am going to give myself permission to pivot books, because the last thing I want to do right now is put myself in a reading slump because of something I don't love. But I'm talking in advance here. Like, I could love this book. I hope I love this book. But I have some backup books on my TBR, namely the final book in The Expanse that I could also go to because I really want to read James S.A. Corey's newest release. I'm rambling. But anyway, welcome to the start of this vlog. Hopefully I'm obsessed with this book, just like all of the SFO bros out there. And but there's only way to find out. We're just gonna have to wait and see. Before I get to reading, we gotta make lunch. This is a combination of leftovers and prepped food. They're basically like little Greek bowls, which I make all the time, but we actually preemptively grilled some chicken thighs to add to the bowls, which has really brought it to another level. They're so fast to put together too, which is why it's one of my favorite lunches. So I'm just gonna get to chopping. And lunch is served. This is going to be so good. So I'm gonna go enjoy. Hello. Did acquire an afternoon latte. Please don't judge me too harshly. I've been pretty good, but I'm about to sit down and do some reading of Howling Dark by Christopher Ruccio, but I wanted to do kind of a little bit more of an overview of what this series is about. I don't know why I feel nervous about reading this book, but I guess we'll just like see what happens. So this is an epic space opera series, but I would also describe aspects of the writing style and world building to really lean in a high fantasy direction. So it's a nice hybrid situation. In this story, we're introduced to our main character, Hadrian, and Hadrian is like supposedly this very notorious figure within space. He's lauded by some as a hero. He's decried by others as the ultimate villain. He's lived a very long life because of his like aristocratic roots and just like how genetics have transformed in the future here. But this structurally is a story of Hadrian telling us everything that happened with the notion of we can draw our own conclusions, if you will. Book 1, I liked. It did a lot of interesting world building. This sci-fi setting is cool because it's futuristic. Obviously we're in space, we have space travel, we have all these different planets with different governments, but in some ways the culture reads very like medieval. How the different governments are set up on these different planets gives very like feudal vibes. On top of that, technology is actually like super controlled and regulated. The technology exists to get people from point A to point B via space travel. Also, there is technologically advanced weapons, but the church has controlled information on how these things are created, maintained, and also very much like represses the ability to continue to have technological advancement. This is because in the past, there was some sort of like AI takeover that like almost happened and destroyed society. So I think that as a variable to this world, just like at a baseline, is really interesting. So we have this like futuristic world that also feels very retro, very historical, which kind of is where that fantasy feeling comes in. I liked book 1. Hadrian as a main character is interesting. Book 1 sort of read to me like a bunch of mini stories sort of put together to give us a backstory to understand Hadrian as a character and his motivations. And I just felt it was done in a little bit of a clunky fashion. I feel like there's a lot of good in the first book that I appreciated, but aspects of the characterization and just how the plot paced wasn't necessarily my favorite. And sometimes I felt like for the plot to progress, Hadrian had to act out of character and impulsively to sort of burn everything down kind of over and over and over again. With that in mind, people really say the series begins to improve starting with book 2. Books 3 and 4 are supposedly amazing. And you know, I love a long series, so I just thought, let's check this out and see and clock if it could be a fave for me, or if it's just okay. I'm hoping with book 2 I start to like the main character more. I find him interesting, but I'm fearful he's gonna have kind of like Darrow vibes in the way that he's going to be so perfect with plot armor, or just I will feel like I'm experiencing him from a arm's length, that I just won't be as fully invested in his story and his character. But it's too soon for me to call that, and I do like him more than Darrow after book 1. Like, it's not to say these are trending in the same direction at all, but I just have, for some reason, like lots of excitement and lots of nerves about this series, because I think I just like want to like it so much and be along for the hype with everyone else. But I've just been burned recently, so that's that. But anyway, that's the book we're reading. I'm gonna sit down and do some reading now. I've heard that the beginning part of this is super confusing. So I just need to like get through that and then we'll talk. We will talk. So anyway, I'm gonna do some reading, then I'm gonna make dinner. I'm gonna play some Luigi's Mansion tonight, I think. Have a relaxing night in, which should be delectable. But I'm gonna drink this latte, read, hopefully not have an existential crisis, and carry on with my evening. Cheers. Dinner is a pea and creamy tortellini pasta. And then I also made a homemade Caesar salad, which should be so delicious. I'm gonna go sit down and eat this now. Real Housewives of Orange County season 1. And I brought my Switch in here to actually game because I love gaming in this room. And I feel like TV small screen, game big screen, I'm much more productive on my actual game. You know what I mean? So that's the vibe, that's the plan. Hi friends, I am now settled into bed after a nice Luigi's Mansion session. I decided to pick it up because it just felt appropriate for the fall season. You know, Luigi, a haunted hotel, some ghosts. So anyway, I'm having a lot of fun with that right now. But I'm now gonna read more of Howling Dark by Christopher Ruccio. I am interested in what is going on in this book. I won't deny that people weren't lying when it was confusing. In fact, I was so confused that I posted on Instagram just like trying to confirm that I'm supposed to be this confused. There's a time skip going into the second book, and after talking to some friends, specifically my friend Patrick, he was like, there's a poorly done time skip, but things get better like starting 80-90 pages in. So I'm trusting him, and we will progress from there. One thing that is cool about the time skips in the sci-fi world is that they use like cryogenic sleep for space travel, which I think is just interesting because it makes the progress of wars different and it extends things, because like you might be a soldier and you might be asleep for 30 years and then you're just like awake for a year at a time, shifting from place to place. And I just think conceptually that's just really interesting, like the transit times for things, but obviously like the world and the universe doesn't stop while you're asleep, but it's like all part of the strategy. Anywho, I'm gonna read now. So wish me luck, because I have a lot of this book to read. First of all, look how cute my new dress is. Look at this denim dress. It's so stinking cute. It's from The Gap. 10 out of 10. Second of all, let's do a reading update. The Howling Dark by Christopher Ruccio. I am 80 pages into this book. I definitely have not read quite as much as I would have hoped at this point. I also read these books slow. I feel like there's so much information, characters, plot that's just kind of thrown at you. I feel like I have to like reread and just like really pay attention. And sometimes my mind wanders while I'm reading, especially at night. That being said though, the first 40 pages, I was like, what is going on? But now I do feel like I'm starting to get my footing in the story, and it is interesting. I'm still so early days in this, but my hope is that there's just like a consistent plot movement through this book. Book 1 had a little more of a disjointed feeling to it. It was interesting, but just like felt like separate stories sort of pushed together. I'm hoping this feels cohesive. Sorry, my camera died. Where was I? I think I was talking about how I hope that this book is gonna have a more like consistent singular plot sequence throughout this book versus kind of putting multiple together in one book. I am only 80 pages in, but I do feel like I'm finally settling into the story. I'm hoping that Hadrian feels more real to me within the second installment. He's such a grandiose figure within this world and in the history of this world that I'm hoping he'll be more humanized to me going into the second installment. But I'm excited to read more today. I need to do work. I need to make lunch though, but later we will sit and read, and I can't wait. Egg salad sandwiches for lunch and some apples. One of my favorites. It's later. We're gonna sit and read. I'm first gonna make some tea though. Some lightly caffeinated tea, some Earl Grey, much lower stakes than coffee. I've also been successfully drinking tea now for over a year, and I feel like the longer I drink tea, more different types of teas I'm starting to like, which is so exciting because I want to like all tea. The tea that I've started to like finally, which I'm so excited about because it's everywhere in so many different things, is matcha. The day I have been dreaming of being a matcha girl for years. And you know what, friends? It's happening. Imagine this: homemade strawberry syrup, matcha latte, slay. Matcha ice cream, done. Matcha mochi, sign, seal, deliver. Matcha cake, the world is my oyster now. You know, sometimes it just takes dedication. But today, just Earl Grey. Alrighty, my tea has steeped. We are going into this room now to read my book and to drink some tea. Hello everyone. Good morning from me and my green juice, even in a mushroom glass. Super cute. I apologize. It has been, you wouldn't know, but a chaotic 24-hour sequence. I did meet up with my friend last night and got some wine, and now it's like 5 p.m. the next day. But fear not, I haven't read a single page, so you haven't missed a thing. I'm gonna sit down with my green juice, unwind from this workday, and read more of Howling Dark. I wanna say I'm on page like 150 so far of like a 600-page book. I'm liking it. It's definitely starting to pick up, which I appreciate, but like I really need to like heads down read this book because I feel like I'm falling behind. Doesn't matter. Tonight we're making pasta, a Caesar salad. Should be delicious. So, you know, all's good on the home front. It was just a chaotic 24-hour period, but we're back and we're back vlogging. So cheers to that. All right, this is where we're at. I've got so much of this book left. I feel like I'm reading it so slow, but I also feel like I'm reading a lot. There was another time skip. Christopher Ruccio loves time skips. In other news, we're gonna make dinner together. I'm making a 1-pot tortellini pasta and a Caesar salad. I already made the Caesar dressing too, so that should be fast. Here's my lettuce, which I need to cut up for the salad. Tortellini pasta. I got fresh pasta from Central Market. This, frozen peas. Attempting to get into Big Brother, and I'm having a little ice cream treat. It's Bluebell oatmeal cream pie flavor. If you can find this, buy it. It is so freaking good. It is so freaking good. So I'm gonna enjoy some of this and watch some reality TV as I do. I'm reading. Will I make progress? I'm so behind for this vlog. I don't know if I've ever been so behind for a vlog. It's been 4 days and I've read 160 pages. Definitely not my best work. I think this is like I'm liking the book too, but I'm reading it so slowly. We're gonna read some more right now. We'll see how far I get before I fall asleep. Probably not that far. Hi friends, happy Sunday. I believe I'm about to do something I maybe have never done before in a vlog, at least I haven't done so recently, and that is DNF a book mid-vlog. Now, this needs a lot of caveats because yes, I've decided to stop reading The Howling Dark at the moment. This is coming from a place of I'm liking this book, but I'm realizing as I'm reading it, I don't think I am in the mood like mentally to read this book, because while I'm entertained by the plot, I'm curious about the characters and how things are unfolding, I cannot concentrate for the life of me while reading this, making me read it so slowly. I feel like I'm just rereading the same thing over and over again because I just cannot concentrate and pay attention. And I'm thinking I want something that's maybe a little less detail oriented, a little less dense in its writing style. Because one thing I will say about this series, it's really good, has a lot of action, but it definitely has a verbose writing style that I actually like, but it does require, at least for me, to pay attention. And the thing is, again, about this, I'm DNFing it, but I do feel like I need to do a bit of a reading update because I'm going to come back to this book, is that the progression of the story so far I'm liking quite a bit, and I'm actually liking it better than book one. It feels like a more cohesive reading experience, and I feel like we're really kind of getting settled into the actual story. I'm still not fully attached to all of the characters that are sort of present in this, but the world and how this sci-fi setting kind of interacts with technology and the sort of traditional elements it pulls in is really interesting. And I just like learning about the different cultures and the different groups within, you know, these planetary empires and the political reach that these empires have, and obviously this long conflict that is also existing within this universe. It's all interesting and it's thoughtfully built, but my brain just cannot compute. I just am having a terrible time reading this, and reading 250 pages in basically a week is pretty bad for me. And I'm fearful this is gonna like push me into a reading slump because it's just like not what I feel like reading at the moment. I'm liking this, but I'm also DNFing it for the time being, and I'm gonna pivot in quite literally the complete opposite direction of this book. I want something fun, entertaining, hopefully a little breezy to read. It'll make me feel accomplished. I'll flip through it. I will complete it. I will have a book read. I have a book under my belt. I am picking up Maureen Johnson's new book. I don't read a lot of YA, but I love Maureen Johnson and I love her like YA murder mysteries. This just came out and it sounds like such a blast. And I also feel like it's gonna be perfect for the fall season just in general. And this is called Death at Morning House. And this follows our main character, Marlo. And after accidentally setting fire to the house that she was house sitting, she was sort of desperately looking for a new job for the summer. So she starts working at this place called Morning House to give tours. It's boring, but it's secure, and she shouldn't hopefully set any accidental fires. But she also realizes that the Morning House has secrets in its basement, deaths and murders and all of those things. I love Maureen Johnson's writing. I think it's like the perfect combination of like campy, funny, but the thriller elements are like quite engaging. This book is not too long. I'm hoping it'll just pull me in and I'll be able to just breeze through this and complete a book and kind of get myself back on track for reading for this month. So reading update is I'm DNFing this, but I am liking this. And I'm gonna read this instead. Could not be more different from each other. In the process of starting a soup for dinner, I'm making a green chili chicken chili? Green, I can't say it. Chicken green chili, I don't know. It's a chicken chili with white beans. So I'm just trying to bring this to a simmer. I'm gonna shred the chicken once it cooks through. I also have some fresh corn to add in. And I bought these Hatch green chili corn muffins from the grocery store, and I think they're gonna be so good to have on the side. I also have some tortilla chips, sour cream. I did have avocados, but I think they might be bagged, so I was supposed to make this soup quite a few days ago now. But we'll test and see, but I'm not hopeful, I think is the word I'm saying. Look how scrumptious this looks. Can't wait to eat it. I'm gonna heat up my corn muffins. And then it's bon appetit. Hello. I have been in bed playing Luigi's Mansion. I love Luigi's Mansion, and I recently downloaded Luigi's Mansion 3. And I've actually been saving it. I've been wanting to play it all year, but I was like, wait, no, that's the perfect fall game. Ghosts, Haunted Mansion. So I recently let myself download it, and it's so silly and fun. I love Luigi and his energy. His nervous energy is so relatable, you know? Relatable king. But I'm now gonna pivot to perhaps another haunted mansion, Death at Morning House. I'm so excited to start this and hopefully just read something quickly because I feel like I've lost the ability to over the past week. So here we go. Good morning, everyone. I'm excited to have some coffee and I'm excited to read more of my book. I'm happy to report I did read 50 pages last night and it's cute and fun and just a little bit spooky in a way that I was exactly hoping it would be. Off to a good start. I am wearing a hat at like 7:45 in the morning because my hair is really greasy, but that's okay. Cheers. Hi friends, I did some reading last night. I did some additional reading this morning and I'm happy to report I've officially read 100 pages of Death at Morning House. Also look at the spine of this book. It's so pretty. This book is exactly the vibe I was hoping it was going to deliver in terms of a YA thriller. Maureen Johnson is also doing something in this I appreciate that she's done before, which is giving us 2 timelines and 2 mysteries that are kind of intertwined but kind of not, which I feel like creates suspense in 2 different places, which just makes such a compelling book and story. But to take a step back, let's chat about this book. So in present day, we're following our main character, Marlo. Marlo is in high school. She's a little awkward. And at the beginning of this book, things were looking like they were turning around for her. She got the girl of her dreams to go on a date with her. Things were going great until she accidentally burned down her family friend's cabin by a candle exploding. And this sort of not only deeply embarrasses her, it makes her feel incredibly anxious, kind of feel like an outsider. People are kind of talking about her. So to sort of get out of town, she decides to take up this summer job working at this place called Morning House, which for the first time is being opened to the public. This house is on an island in kind of upstate New York, where there is this big river that separates Canada and America, and there's all these little islands and there's like small towns and communities that surround these places. So she's now living and working at this house with some other teenagers. Having this job sort of feels unusual for her. Everyone who works there knows each other because they grew up around each other, and there's just something sort of weird going on, maybe some secrets, some things left unsaid, some personalities that aren't necessarily getting along, and then obviously the house itself is a little sus, is a little suspicious, which we begin to learn firsthand because we're also reading chapters set in 1932, and we're reading from different perspectives of the children who lived at this house. So this is a big mansion basically made by some super rich guy in the turn of the century. He is like obsessed with like health and science and eugenics and these types of things, and he adopted 6 children right after they were born and sort of raised them all together in this like strange house. These siblings have lots of different like talents, and they have an interesting relationship with each other and their father, and there's just something overall very weird. And there's also a curse that surrounds this family, which sort of kicked off with the death of the youngest child, that sort of led to the downfall of everything that surrounded them. So this house has a lot of mysteries. It has obviously an eerie past. It seems like some of these secrets are being unlocked given that the house is finally open once again in present day. The dad from the past is super weird and off-putting, and reading from the perspectives of the different siblings, which kind of go in between the modern chapters where we read from Marlo, I love, and again I feel like creates such good suspense with past and present. Marlo is a main character, so easy to root for. She's funny and endearing and awkward, but she's really smart and capable at the same time. But you're just like rooting for her because she's just having like a bad summer, and you want her to be able to have like a nice time, make friends, have the girl of her dreams, like all of these things. I feel like Maureen Johnson really balances like thriller, mystery, great characters and character dynamics and friendship, sort of closed door settings. Her last series took place in this like isolated boarding school. This book is obviously taking place on this island with this mansion. So I sort of like these isolated settings. I think it works really well. Her writing style is great. It's just like very engaging, and I'm already really curious like what in the world happened, because this family, weird. They only eat yogurt. They do, you know, they do their little exercises every day and matching outfits. Like, they're weird. We also know that pretty much all of them die. So it's like, what happened, you know? So yes, I've read 100 pages, reading quickly. I feel like I'm getting my reading feet back underneath me, which is good. And the goal was switching books. I do now need to carry on with the rest of my day. So I'm gonna do that now. But I did want to check in and give you a reading update. We've got Real Housewives of Orange County catching up. And we've got my adult Lunchable snack bowl. And Matilda in my ranch, most important part. First off, I got a haircut. Second of all, I have a reading update. I have flown through Death at Morning House. This is 100% delivering what I was wanting it to. Like, is it the most groundbreaking, suspenseful, harrowing murder mystery book I've ever read? No. Am I completely entertained? Yes. And honestly, I have a really big soft spot for YA thrillers in particular, because I just feel like they really can lean into that campy murder mystery style. Like, they can have fun, have romance, have coming of age, and also have a creepy, bone-chilling mystery that they're sort of at the center of. Like a coming of age thriller story, top notch. And Maureen Johnson does it so well in particular. This book has been super gripping. I love the pacing of the reveals. One thing Maureen Johnson does so well, especially because she often likes to utilize two timelines with two separate mysteries that are connected, but separate from each other. She's constantly having like mini reveals throughout her story. So like every chapter sort of ends on a cliffhanger-ish, but then often you're switching back to the other storyline, where again, she sort of drops new nuggets, new suspenseful things, and you're like, huh? And then again, you're whisked off back to present day or back to the past. So she creates cliffhangers and then tension by having these two storylines happen and unfurl alongside each other at the same time. And then you begin to see the connections through the different stories. Obviously, the present day chapters are the most significant part of this book. Definitely the meat of what's going on. And I just love Marlo. She's just so cute. I'm rooting for her like no other. I love seeing her like try to do this job. I love seeing her try to like work alongside all of these people and like try to make friends or like flirt awkwardly with the girl that she thinks is kind of cute, but then also kind of like not fully know who to trust. And that sort of amped up because as she's settling into this new place, she hears and gets information from different people, sort of creating this picture of what happened recently, which has created a lot of tension. And then something happens present day that's also a very intense situation, and everything feels very connected. And Marlo's like, what is happening? Why am I even here? Leave me alone. And it's just like, she's so likable, and this mystery has hooked me quite a bit. I love this morning house setting. I love, you know, this sort of creepy old house. It creates a closed door sort of murder mystery vibes. It's definitely trying to be referential to those types of stories, and it's doing a great job. Obviously, we also have this past storyline of this super weird family with a creepy father with terrible ideology, and these kids just trying to like, you know, go about their day, survive, and you begin to see what is supposed to appear to be an idyllic family based off of like what the world knows about them. You begin to see the cracks or the fissures or the complexities that exist sort of behind the scenes as you would anticipate. And we know going into this book that there's death and a curse surrounding this family, but like what actually happened on that fateful night, we don't know. But again, the reveals are slowly coming. Anyway, I'm just like so entertained. Like, this is just such a great fall read. It got me on the edge of my seat. I want to know what happened in the past, what's happening in the present. I like the characters. It's funny and silly and then serious when it needs to be. It's just like a very, very charming book, and reminds me why I love YA thrillers so much. And there's definitely other YA thrillers on my shelf I should get to soon, because like, I love them. It's a genre within YA I just don't think I'll ever get sick of because they're so fun. Anyway, making great progress. I'm definitely gonna finish this book today, and I'll have a book finished under my belt for this vlog, because I definitely wasn't tracking to finish a book until I pivoted. But that's a reading update. I'm having a blast. Okay, real talk. The final sequence of this book has been, it is so fast. It's like you're on a roller coaster. And this is how I like my thrillers to feel. Everything's interesting, you're curious, you're trying to piece things together. And then boom, you're going down the hill. Everything is going off the rails. I'm like, oh, shocked left, right, and center. And I'm so curious to see how this is all gonna wrap up. It's definitely caught me by surprise a few places, which we love a red herring. And I'm having a really good time. So I'm gonna finish it right now. Hi friends, and welcome to the end of the vlog. Matilda's here joining me to discuss the 2 books I was able to read over the course of this vlog. One I finished, one I did not. So let's just go ahead and move through that. First we have Death at Morning House. This was such a fun murder mystery, summer to fall. I feel like it's a good bridge book. Standalone YA novel. I felt like it had such fun character dynamics. I loved the twists and turns. I loved the level of scary this was. Like, it definitely had my heart racing at times. It had me flipping the pages, but I at no point was like too scared to go to sleep. And that's kind of like the sweet spot I personally like to be. This was fun and campy, entertaining, truly delivered on all fronts. I just really adore Maureen Johnson's like YA mystery series. I just think they're truly a blast. 10 out of 10. And honestly, I feel like this book's right here too. I have been kind of vibing with YA again recently. I've had 2 YA books that I really liked, and I just feel like when YA hits and when it stays in the lane of YA, it can really deliver. I also read, how much did I read? 254 pages of The Howling Dark by Christopher Ruccio. I DNF'd this for now because honestly, I feel like my brain is just truly in the mood for things like this. Even still, like I just want to read fun, quick reads that are entertaining, that doesn't take a lot of like mental effort on my part. I liked this book. I found it just a little dense. But not necessarily like as a bad thing, but just like in regards to what I feel like I can handle right now. And it just was taking me so long to read. I was entertained. At this point, I wouldn't necessarily call this a 5-star read just because it hasn't captured my attention as intensely as I wanted it to be. But I am liking where this series is going, and I am happy to see that some parts of book 1 I didn't love. It seems like this book isn't really repeating those same errors, so I'm looking forward to finishing this soon once I read some lighter books. I think after finishing The Assassin's Fate by Robin Hobb, I think my brain is just craving lighter, easier reads. You know what I mean? And that's okay. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I was able to read almost 700 pages. As this book is almost 400 pages, then obviously I read about 250 pages of this, which in the end is not too bad. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon with another one soon. Goodbye.